when you were more, let's say, a fan, younger Rob, did you fall into any fandoms? Were you okay? So
no, not fandoms. Not like
standing. Were you standing for anybody, or just like where you're like, you took, how they felt personal, like in the sense of like, my favorite artist didn't like that person, so I'm gonna kind of side with them.
The Big and Pac was hard for me, being from Brooklyn, being from New York, because I was a Pac fan. I had Pac's CDs and albums up until that beef. Then I was like I was confused. Right. Like, and New York, to dispel the myth, like New York with Pac.
Right. First off, Pac was born here, okay? And literally loved New York. I always have to remind people, loved New York.
And was always out here. Like the time when he had Juice like Pac.
Right.
Like just that character and bot with the 40 Belows, the Carhartt, that was us.
Like everything about Pac, especially early on, was so New York.
Listening to Hot 97, like I get around, keep your head up, like play in rotation 24/7. So we with Pac's music. But when him and Big started clashing, it was like watching the Source Awards at home, because I was at home. Right. Like I was a kid. Right. Watching the Source Awards was confusing to me. It was like, what was going on, and do I have to pick a side? And for a while, I felt like I couldn't listen to Pac. But I used to have friends coming over. I had the biggest CD collection on the block out of all my friends. And it was like, man, you listen to the Pac CD? Yeah, crazy. But then after the Big thing, it was like, damn, bro, like what am I supposed to do now? So, but I still love Pac. I'm still a fan of Pac, but it was definitely during that period when they was beefing.
And we were kids,
like,
right? So we were so impressionable at that time. How much do you feel like the media played a part in that division between East Coast, West Coast? Because we saw it on the magazine covers. At that time, you would have more of a say of what was happening on the radio on Hot 97. I would say this. On the West Coast, we heard Big all the time. I don't feel that West Coast radio took the stance like East Coast radio. I could be wrong, but that is what I was exposed to. I don't feel like Big's records ever slowed up.
Yeah. I don't know that Pac's did. It might have been like a couple months.
Sure.
Until he died. Maybe a year. Right. But I think New York did take it more personal than like, I didn't know that about the West Coast, but I could see how New York takes it a little more personal. But you also got to look, Pac was super on the offensive. Like Big was trying to deflect. Like Big wasn't feeding into it as much as Pac. Pac was just like insult after insult after insult. It was like, damn, how much more can you take? But yeah, I think it got a little personal. I think media played into it for sure with the magazine covers and the back and forth interviews and the he said, she said. So I think media absolutely played into it, and we see ways. I see ways now that I'm in media, how media can play into beef now.
Oh yes.
There's certain things that I won't do. I've had artists. There's certain artists you know when they drop a diss record that is for the art, and nobody's. And then there's other artists when you know it feels more dangerous. I've had artists want to come to Genius and break down their diss records, and it like drill artists per se, and I'm just like, nah. There's an energy here that. This interview is only going to add fuel to the fire. Yes. You're welcome to come to Genius. We're not breaking down that song. Right. Let's break down the song about the girl in your life or something like that. Right. Like, I'm not doing this because one, I don't want it to fuel a beef, and two, I don't want it to end up in court and be Exhibit A. Right. You know what I mean? So the media definitely fueled, but the people involved also have to take accountability. Sure. Like the Pac Big thing, like it wasn't Fantasyland. It wasn't some that Vibe magazine made up. Like there was something there, and I think there were certain people in the industry, in the camps, pushing the line and put people in danger. Right.
So in this day and age, I feel like obviously because we've seen it, your career began, and when you started writing is post Pac and Big, right? Yeah. Same for us, right? All of us. We were kids when all this was happening, but I remember being very impressionable. Like it was very, very serious. I also didn't really understand what was going on at that time. I was like, wait, what? But there was a certain energy. And fast forward to now, I think maybe that's why we are very mindful about certain things. And not saying that we've always been perfect in our careers, right? Like especially starting off in radio at 19 years old or whatever. But I do think the fact that you're mindful of, okay, what we're going to put on the platform, because what this can result into is so much more important than getting clicks. Yeah. And it's hard in this day and age because it almost feels like trauma, negativity tends to, do the numbers. Yeah. And it's hard when you care about music, the art, the culture, when you care so much. How do you find balance in that? How do you report or discuss or share your perspective in a way that okay, I don't want it to be so harmful that it results into somebody not having a paycheck or being harmed? How do you find that balance, and will we get to a better place?
It's easy because I value there's things that I value more than clicks. There's things that I value more than money. There's things that I value more than, sometimes you get an interview. Shout out to Guru. Guru called me one time. I had just interviewed Jay on Twitter Spaces, and he was like, yo, you in that white hot space. So sometimes too, as media people, when we get the hot interview, when we get the big interview, you're in that white hot space. Only lasts about a week, and then something new happens, right? I'm saying it, so more than money, more than clicks, more than being in that white hot space, I value us. Like, this is our thing. When look, and we're seeing it now with people getting laid off, with media companies falling. There's a divestment in our culture, in our music, in our art. People are pulling the money out. Mm-hmm. When they leave, when the investors leave, when the corporations leave, when they divest in it, guess what? This is still our shit. I'm still going to be here. You're still going to be here. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have to be responsible. So I think a little further than just a click.
Right.
Like, are we going to be okay 10 years from now? Where are we going to be 20 years from now? Can I pass this on to another generation to help teach people? So, it's just more important. Like, this is my shit. Like, I still, like, some people get to go home at the end of the day. I say too, because we all work, I don't know if you see it that hot, but certain corporate building, like, there's some people that work in our business and work in the business of hip hop. And when they go home,
that's it.
It's like Mr. Rogers. They get to take the hip hop off.
Right.
I just am who I am. Like, you put me in a boardroom, I'm dressed the same way. I'm coming in sneakers and a hat. And I have all my hair under here, but I just always wear a hat. It just is what it like. My don't come off. I talk the way I talk. It's just, it don't come off. So we're going to have to live with this for the rest of our lives. So that's why we treat it a little better.